As the debate around the illegal migration crisis continues, Nigel Farage is now calling for a referendum on our membership of ECHR. Now, all this would have been could have been prevented if politicians, elected politicians in the House of Commons, regardless of parties, would have done something about the illegal migration crisis. One is a border crisis in terms of protecting the borders and not allowing random people to come in without being vetted. Another is the actual illegal migration crisis. So that takes it to a new level. That also includes people who have now crossed the border. They are now inside the country and we have to deport them. But apparently we can't because of the left-wing lawyers and the European Convention on Human Rights. But at the same time, whilst we have talked about the problems around ECHR membership, why is it that all the other countries who are also members of ECHR and the UN Refugee Convention, including France and Denmark and all the others, why is it that they are easily able to deport their illegal migrants? Why is it easy for them to, for example, send people back to Albania? So we have to sort out the debate around ECHR. We have to leave the organization anyway. But at the same time, if they can't really do anything now, do you really think that this government or the future government, Team Red or Team Blue, even without being a member of ECHR, I don't think they're going to be able to do it because they clearly don't want to do it. Now, Nigel Farage has written an article in the Telegraph calling for a referendum on the European Court of Human Rights. Now, this issue obviously is escalating, and we always advocate for referendums on constitutional issues, but sometimes some questions become so deadlocked in Parliament that people get frustrated, so they say, let's just go to the public. The fear I have is that some questions, not necessarily this one, some questions, one side of the argument would think that if we just go to the referendum, because the political class are not doing it, then I want it to happen, so by default, the referendum will win. But some questions, what if you lose? What if the public go the other way around for various reasons? So it's not really by default a fast-track solution, referendums anyway. So you might backfire, just like how 2014 backfired on the SNP. Now, in this article, talked about a couple of issues. One is, to date, the British public has not made any link between those crossing the channel and the rate of crime. But what if it did? It is a very good point. So a lot of people know that, back in their head, that a lot of the criminals would pose as illegal migrants. But what he's talking about and what we're talking about is the general rate of crime every day in the country that's gone up. So not necessarily the ones we can identify saying, well, that's an illegal migrant from Albania who happens to be a criminal. No. We're talking about the everyday crime that we don't even hear the names of these criminals. But the data's there. The rate has gone up as mass migration continues to rise. So there is definitely a link. Now, Nigel says, over the last 20 years, the main body of Conservative voters have not been happy with levels of legal or illegal migration into Britain. In recognition of this, successive Conservative manifestos since 2010 have promised to reduce net migration to the tens of thousands a year. These promises have been insultingly empty. Yeah, because the target thing was never supposed to be, well, shouldn't have been the main aspect of it. You could have a general main target, but the reality should have been to not even try to hit the target, to be below it. The whole point was, right now, mass migration, legal and illegal, has gone so far that we have to go negative migration for a while. So shut down all migration, deport those that you need to deport, protect the interests of the British public, and then, if you are desperate in any sector, as I always say, a perfect example is if we need 5 engineers and we don't really have time to train up our people within the next 5 minutes, then go get them from Canada or India, wherever. That's not really just opening your door again to anybody without being vetted. He says, only a dramatic political insurgency will genuinely get the ECHR issue onto the front pages. And it needs to be there. Remember, last June, it took just one ECHR judge to stop that flight, the flight that was supposed to go to Rwanda. One ECHR judge. it shouldn't be like this. British democracy and sovereignty should be protected. And right now, we feel like it doesn't exist anymore because we're giving away all our powers, even at the time when we think we are taking back control of those powers. So we have to do something about this, and we have to do it now. But Nigel Farage is right. We have to find ways to get more traction in the news, in the mainstream media, everyday people, those who are not really that politically interested or aware. If you keep talking about the ECHR, then you will be raising awareness. Anyway, let me know what you think. I'm Mahyar, Tousi, and we are the media.